All right, we're gonna go live here, guys. So yeah, as I said, we're gonna be using some Chaos Return today. I'll be honest, Chaos Return in GOAT format is kind of like my comfort pick. I'm not saying it's like the best deck or anything, but it's just one of those decks that, to me, is like pretty simple to play. Has some pretty good cards, and I'm just always comfortable running it. I don't feel like I have to like think too much. I can kind of be on autopilot to a large extent. I won't get into too much detail about like how the deck works, since I've talked about that in a million other videos, including my most recent one. If you didn't see like the latest top tier decks of GOAT format video, go watch that. It's on my channel. So yeah, the only thing that I'm changing from Nate Dogg's list is I'm just gonna test like one Ninja Grandmaster, one Blade Knight instead of two Blade Knights. My standard builds that that Nate Dogg was using, it had two Blade Knights, but I don't know. Blade Knight seems like a card where it's like, if you're playing two, it's because you can't come up with anything better, not because like you just think Blade Knight is the greatest thing ever. Because both of its abilities are often like not going to be a thing, right? Like if you have another monster, say you're like walling on spies, well then you can't use Blade Knight's effect to kill a set foot monster. And then if you have more than one card in hand, it's not going to be 2000. So like when Blade Knight is a 1600 vanilla, it is a pretty awful card. But as long as at least like one of its abilities is active, it's probably at least decent. But we'll see. So it's like what I like to do with things like this is just in the games, I try to like mentally keep track of like which is better. Like if I'm constantly wishing my Ninja Grandmaster was a Blade Knight, I make note. And then if I constantly wish my Blade Knight was a Ninja Grandmaster, I also take note. That's kind of how like I used to compare like Wing Blast versus Raigeki Break. Like I'd always say, every time I'm drawing Raigeki Break, I wish it was a Wing Blast. That was like a long time ago. So that's kind of what I try to do. Some lists, they do play the Ninja Grandmaster. I've even seen some lists that like play two. So I figure like if it's good enough for some people to play two copies of it, well then I can probably play at least one, right? I changed up the side like a little bit too. I do like the double roulette barrel on the side against aggro decks. I know maybe that's like a bit much, but again, it's one of those things where like we'll see how it goes. So yeah, we'll jump into the games. As far as like what this deck doesn't like to play against, I don't know. Like Burn doesn't seem like the greatest matchup, but not a lot of people play Burn. And to the early birds here, the people in the chat, if it's something you want to talk about, let me know. I mean, we could talk about like the whole drama with like Konami almost killing off past formats, or we can like talk about the drama with like Israel and Iran. It's your call. Our opponent is playing a 60 card deck, which is kind of funny. I'm glad I'm not playing Empty Jar today, because that would that would be a challenge. This is not like a very good hand. I'm a little scared that this could be Morphing Jar, so like we kind of have to graceful. I really don't like drawing like two monsters off this graceful. That is not very pleasant. I'm actually, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna discard both angels. I don't see these angels doing a whole lot. So yeah, we're probably just gonna like set two and attack. I might attack with Sagan, like again, just in case it's like Morphing Jar. I don't know. This could be like an awful play. But also, it's like, even if it's not... Oh, it's like a Set Goblin attack force. That's actually kind of like a funny interaction. What do I even search as Sengen now? That's kind of the funny part. Alright, well I guess let's get the third angel then. It would be great if we just like had a Chaos Sorcerer in our hand right now, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, there's a decent chance we're gonna lose this game, just because we're getting out-tempoed. And like our opponent is just not playing around Mirror Force or Torrential at all. So we could play Breaker, but now that we've drawn the MST, it's kind of like we don't have to. If he just plays Cross out, though, are we dead? Yeah, we probably are. We'll just hope he doesn't have it. Oh, this is actually just so gross. Alright, yeah, we're just dead. Now that we know what he's playing, though, this matchup becomes like 1,000 times easier. Yeah, this hand looks pretty good. We've got like a light and a dark and a BLS. Yeah, I'm just gonna Mirror Force. I think I'll just play the Angels, just because, like, if he, like, Mirror Forces this or something, it puts a light and a dark in our grave. Like, if I didn't have a Chaos Monster... If I didn't have a Chaos Monster in my hand, I might, like, treat this a little differently. I don't know, we could probably, like, end phase Dust, summon BLS, attack for, like, a bunch of damage. I think that's our plan. Like, obviously in this matchup, we're supposed to be the control deck, but we're probably just going to be the aggro deck. So hold on, let me do some math. So let's see, 1900, 11, 41, so we only need 15 more. So Warrior Lady's exact game. So what was that? We killed on like turn 3 or something? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even the Sork, I think we can... We have enough lights to support 2 Sork. Hold on, let me think. Let me think about this here. Even, like, Book just seems kind of awful, right? Or even something like Dakochi isn't that great. This Sork should probably be in the main, you know? Because we got the lights and darks. For some reason, I thought, like, since we were taking out 2 Zaborgs, we wouldn't have enough lights. But then we put in 2 roulette barrels, so we actually had the same number of lights. I don't know, I'll just do this. Going to 0 Book feels bad, but, like... Yeah, we'll see. It's easy to say here we should just summon a monster and attack, but we can just get blown out by like 10 different things. Okay, well, we'll just Mirror Force. See if he allows that to happen. So we can, like, use Dust, or we can use Saku. We saw Fake Trap in game 1. Yeah, I mean, this guy's 2,800 attack, so I think we should just be Sakuing here. I don't know. I don't want to get blown out by Mirror Torrential. Although he has like a 60-card deck, so we'd think logically there's less chance of him having it than normal. Yeah, like how... I don't know. We're just gonna keep attacking, I think. It's like, do we want to do sort of the high variance play that lets us win faster, or like the low variance play? I also want to play around top deck duo, I think. I mean, it's a little risky, but I'm gonna play around top deck duo. Angel's pretty good too, and our opponent has like a skill drain in play. I don't know, this is game in 2. Alright, that's fine. Because we have another monster in our hands. And we have Snatch, so it's like... The reason I didn't just go for that last turn is because I didn't know I was going to top deck another monster. So now it's like, okay, the mirror is gone. We get to keep up the pressure. Although maybe we should have summoned the ninja last turn instead of the shining angel, because now if our opponent just like draws a big monster, he can attack over our guy. Whereas if we had an angel right now, he wouldn't be able to do that. He could have like the old final attack orders set trick again. I mean, we can dust it. I don't know. I think we're getting graceful. We have Sork, but we have no Dark in our grave. Statistically speaking, though, I mean, we have 25 cards in our deck, and a lot of those cards are Darks. I don't really like Roulette Barrel right now. Like, obviously it's not as good when your opponent has a skill drain in play. And we still have one more Roulette Barrel in our deck that the Angel can search. I think we want to keep the Saku too, but now it's a question of, like, do we want to keep the Sork? Or do we want to keep the... I actually think we want to keep the Angel. I'll be totally honest. I think we're getting rid of this Sork. Partially because if I just draw another Sork, then now I have the Dark, right? Now I have the Dark in case I just top deck another Sork. So yeah, now the mirror is gone. Yeah, we'll just chain. Alright, we'll let that happen. So we take 14. And we'll just get another Shining Angel. Then we'll say go. I could use the Solemn there, but I felt like we didn't have to. I want to save it for, like, you know, this sort of snatch setup. And we can't just Saku. If we Saku and our opponent just sets another monster, though, we're kind of in trouble, right? Is that 37? Is that 37? We'd take 1,000, and then we can... I mean, if he doesn't do anything, we can just snatch attack for game. That's 42. Well, he doesn't need to play around mirror. I don't know. We'll just Saku. Oh, he does have the other monster. This is just normal Chaos Return. This isn't like the version that plays Rhoda. And the person who's asking me about, like, Vortex before, I don't use Vortex in decks like this, but... Alright, I'm just gonna try to dust this again. Oh, at the end of the battle phase. Oh, now he's just dead, because he just goes summon Deco, snatch, attack for game. Yeah, it doesn't matter what he does. I'm just showing him that I have Solemn. Yeah. Oh, you're right. He would not go to defense, even with skill drain. Yeah, you're right. Apparently he said he sided in Gravekeeper's Watcher because he wanted to negate Graceful Charity. I swear I'm not lying. That's what he just said. Yeah, for those who missed it, this is a build that I'm playing. Yeah, our opponent was playing a pretty weird deck. It's amazing how he was playing like 60 cards, and yet like for 2 games he just had like either a skill drain or a final attack orders and a fake trap to protect it. It's like pretty hard to do in a 60 card deck. All right, maybe we can play a real deck this time. Darn, lost 2 RPS in a row. This hand would be a lot better if we were going first. Already off to not the best start. The logic is our opponent's bad. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. The logic is our opponent's bad. I've never played someone before that was playing 60 cards. Oh, he's gonna chain ring. Okay. That doesn't seem like a very good play. I'm setting return here to play around Dust Shoot. Alright, well this is going very well for us so far. Our opponent went like -1 with his ring and did not have an answer for the spy. If he had like a cross out or something, I could like almost see him justifying that ring. This is not exactly the best Saborg ever. But let's see, what's like, if we just do nothing, like, what's the worst can happen? I mean, we can set Mirror Force, but then we play into Heavy. If he goes Tribe, he also has to kill his own Breaker. I don't know. I mean, I think like playing Zaborg and then setting up our Sork, which sets up our return, I think is worth it. Like, I know it's not really the best use of Zaborg, but oh, okay, that's really, this is really good for us. Is he just dead? Do we just return for game and he's dead? Hold on. Let me now I need to do math. Because we go drop Sork, right? Special summon this in attack. And then 7, 9. Yeah, he's just dead now. Okay, unless he main decks Karibo. Oh, sorry. If he main decks Karibo, he's not dead. So that was a cool game for us. You know, I was saying, like, oh, if we play Zaborg, it sets up our Sork, which sets up our return. But I didn't think we were setting it up, like, right there. I'd Rule Shark the hell at you for activating MST there. Realize I could just take Chain Return and he's still dead. Like, there's nothing to Rule Shark. Okay, I activate MST, I Chain Return, and then our opponent's still dead. Yeah, like, that's... Yeah, I mean, it's very obviously a misclick. Here's the thing, like, here's my general rule for this stuff. And this goes for my opponent, too. I'm not, like, a hypocrite. If a card is mistakenly flip face up, it was obvious that it was a mistake, and, like, nothing in the game state changed. Okay. But for some people, because, like, people will comment, like, oh, why did you, like, let your opponent take back this or not take it back or whatever. First of all, like, pretty much, like, anytime my opponent says, like, oh, can I take this back? In general, I'm just going to say yes, just because I don't want to, like, argue, and it's, like, you know, it's a casual game. The only exception is if, like, something happens where he played something and it made me reveal a card. So, like, the obvious example is, like, if my opponent, like, summons Breaker, let's say, and I flip Torrential, and then my opponent goes, well, can I take my Breaker back? Obviously, I'm going to say no, because I just flipped the Torrential. But if my opponent, like, summons a Breaker and like, immediately puts it back in his hand, and it was obvious that it was just a misclick, and I haven't done something like flip Torrential, I am going to let him take it back. Hopefully that makes sense, and I think that's, like, a pretty reasonable standard to apply. For some reason, our opponent just quit after one game there. I don't know what that was about. I don't even think there's, like, that much of a reason for our opponent to get tilted. Like, yes, we killed him very quickly, but, like, I mean, that's just sometimes how the game goes. He kind of, like, ringed his own guy for no reason, and then he solemned to, like, lose even more life. So, I'd say, like, I don't know. The real problem, the reason that game started to go downhill for him was the ring. Like, if he'd saved the ring, just not ringed his Ryokoki, then he could ring our Zaborg and then save Solemn for something that's more important. And then we get to play an actual game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But because our opponent used his ring in a terrible way, he then had to use his Solemn in a terrible way, which then made us win. So it kind of went all downhill from just him using that one ring. And I don't know how long I'm going to stream today. Yeah, it's probably going to stream for, like, maybe 2.5 more hours or so. 2 to 2.5 hours. And I don't know why it's taking so long for it to find me a person to play. Okay. Maybe when you get to, like, high-ish elo, it sort of takes a little longer. I mean, I'm not really that high yet, though. I'm only 550. Man, am I going to lose like a third RPS? Apparently I am. Wow, this hand would be so much better if we were going first. I mean, you could say that with probably most hands. I don't know, this hand isn't bad going second either, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not complaining. Just in case it feels like I'm complaining. I will have you know that I'm not complaining. Then he's gonna set a monster and say go. Oh, that's fine too, I guess. Yeah, I actually don't mind this. Yeah, because now we get to, like, he just sets up our BLS or our Chaos Sork. And obviously we drew one. Oh, he's main decking Mobius. How do you play this deck and main deck Mobius over Zaborg? I mean, maybe it's some sort of, like, Chaos Monarch deck. I don't know. I'm doing fine, buddy. So I'm probably going to play BLS. I'm just thinking whether putting BLS in attack or defense. Defense BLS plays around Swap. Attack BLS plays around Ninja Grandmaster. Which of the two is he more likely to play? I think he's probably more likely to play Ninja Grandmaster. Therefore, I think I'm going to just put BLS in attack. It's weird that he's just, like, ringing our guy, like, right away. I don't mind it, though. I mean, we have, like, Solemn MST. I mean, this is, like, a very good hand. I'm actually, like, pretty confident here. Oh, he has his own BLS. And did he discard a dark? Let me just check the log. I mean, I could... Oh, yeah, he... Well, no, that was... Okay, yeah. I mean, we could let him keep the BLS and then solemn it. How crazy would that be? But we should probably not do that. We could also let him keep the BLS and snatch steal it. That might be the play, actually. That might be the play. Like, we just send back Breaker, let him play BLS, and then just snatch it and start attacking. Like, how greedy would that be? All right, I'm going to do it. Although he has Tsukiyomi. So he has Tomato, BLS, Mirror. Hold on. I swear, if I had $1 for like every time my opponent just didn't shuffle his deck after Dust Shoot, I would have like, I don't know, more dollars than I have now. And he also didn't set Mirror Force, which to me like indicates his set Spell or Trap. It's something that he feels is protecting himself, right? Something where he feels, oh, I don't need to set Mirror Force because I already have insert card here. Yeah, it's interesting. Our opponent is taking like a very conservative line here. I think he's suspicious of the fact that we didn't send this BLS. And now he's being like he's being very careful. Alright, that's fine. Is he playing heavy? Is that what happened? He just drew heavy? Man, this guy's so good. So let's see if we just draw... If we just draw anything with 200 attack, he's... Or sorry, 600 attack, he's dead. What, do you have Karibo in your hand? So how sick is it that we just didn't send back BLS with Dust Shoot, and our opponent got so scared that he just died without ever playing it? Oh, man. Well, yeah, we got this guy good. We got him good, boys. It's interesting that he's playing Tomato. Like, this would just normally be like, okay, we're just siding in all of our mind controls. But mind control isn't, like, quite so good when your opponent just happens to be playing Tomato. I think I'm only going to side in 2 just because it's not, like, as insane in this situation. I know people are going to call me crazy, but I legitimately think Dust Tornado is a better card in this matchup than Heavy Storm. I know I'm going to have people that are going to say that I'm insane. But yeah, I think this is going to be my side. No need to change any of the monsters. Like, our monsters are all good. Immediately sets 2. I wonder if we're gonna get Dust Shooted here. Of course I said that, like, you can side out Heavy Storm in this matchup, and then we just immediately get punished for siding out our Heavy Storm. I think he's activating his card destruction way too early, by the way. Realize his card destruction went -1 and didn't even put light plus dark in his grave. Like, he could easily just play that tomato and say go. And yet he just didn't for some reason. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And, like, of course the cards that we drew off the card destruction are shit, so we could just, you know, we could just easily end up regretting this. Or not end up regretting this. We could easily lose, even though our opponent, like, played his turn 1 about as suboptimally as possible. We could even set a cross out. We could even set a cross out to play around Dust Shoot. I don't know. I think we should have set one of the cross outs to play around Dust Shoot. Oh, this is really good. He literally didn't shuffle his deck after Dust Shoot again. Like, why do I have to play the game for him? No, he didn't. Am I high? He said, I already shuffled the deck. And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yeah, he said, oh, I already shuffled, but I'll shuffle again. I swear sometimes, man. It's like, are they just trying to trigger me? Yeah, you're right. He's probably newish. I mean, I'll cut him some slack. I'm not like, I'm not mad. No, he doesn't. He only has like 46 XP, whereas I have like 400 and something. Oh, drawing the crossout's pretty nice. Or not the crossout. Drawing the book is pretty nice. So we could summon Zaborg, but I think just summoning Warrior Lady's better. If we get Mirror Force, we just get to chain book, which is really nice. Okay. It's weird because he had like ring, but he didn't ring our DD Warrior Lady, which is kind of an interesting decision. Yeah, I'm not going to cross out the set Tsukiyomi when we can just kill it for free. I mean, I might cross out this, but we can also Zaborg it, right? It's like, which would we rather do? I mean, we don't play like our own Tsukiyomi. He's got 2 darks, no lights in grave. We have light into dark in grave, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and try to get value out of the Zaborg. And we didn't see Mirror Force. If he had Mirror Force, he would have used it last turn, right? Yeah, if he had Mirror, he would have used it last turn. That is what I think. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, I was right. Set, Thunder Dragon. Okay. Seems like he's trying to intimidate me. Alright, sure. For a second I forgot how to show my hands. That's how long it's been since I got dust shooted. I don't know, I think I'm gonna attack, and if I get Mirror Forced, I might just Solemn. That's just how greedy I'm gonna be, I think. We know he has Ring, but the Ring doesn't matter. Yeah, like, this Ring literally doesn't matter. Alright. Solemn is probably game, but I'm just gonna let him do it. Of course he knows what our hand is. And he can't set a monster because he knows we have double crossout. Aw, darn, he got rid of both our crossouts. That's not nice. Okay, and he conceded. Yeah, our opponent played, like, really badly. Here's the thing, it's like, I get that people are new to GOAT format, but, like, is there any format where just doing this card destruction play would make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's not a GOAT format thing. That's, like, just a fundamentals of card games thing. Right? Like, even a Magic the Gathering player could probably understand why this is not a very good use of card destruction. To just discard your Tomato and Mobius. Right? If anything, a Magic the Gathering player might understand it even better. You know, if they play Legacy and they're, like, used to getting max value out of Brainstorm. Or some format where they're trying to get, like, max value out of Ponder or Preordain or something. I don't know. So to me, like, again, obviously, like, you cut these people some slack because they're new to GOAT format. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just new to, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole. I have no idea, right? You know, I'm not gonna speculate. But to me, that's, like, that just seems like a very bizarre play. Wow, we got another 60-card Enjoyer. And I say this every stream, but it's like, it's so weird, because when I play off-stream, I never play against these decks. But then the moment I boot up the stream, every single person is, like, just a hyper-casual player. Okay, he's actually just on full tunes. Okay. While you control a Toon World. I don't know, I guess I'm just sending back Toon Mermaid. Like, okay, he just quit. I mean, what is... I don't understand, like... He's casual enough to just load up 60-card deck with Toon Monsters in it? But then just immediately quits as soon as he sees a dust shoot? I don't know, man. I swear, like, some of these games just want to, like, make me wish, like, my major was psychology. Because I just wonder, like, what exactly is going through someone's mind that makes them go, I'm gonna load up a 60-card Toon deck, but then quit the entire match after my opponent plays Dust Shoot. What's funny is that, like, the Dust Shoot didn't even do anything. Like, his whole hand is dead. The Dust Shoot wasn't the issue. If he was gonna quit, I don't know, maybe just quit turn 1 then. It's... I mean, I guess it's fine. To be honest, I shouldn't be complaining, because, like, 1, we got free Elo, and 2, it's like, you guys probably don't want to see me play 60-card Toon decks on stream. Man, Scissors has been having a bad run for me today. I mean, Dust Shoot's just a good card. Like, it's... Oh, Dust Shoot's lame. It's like, okay, it's a good card. It's not broken. It's good. Oh man, my opponent went graceful Sinister Thunder Dragon. I should probably just quit the whole match. That's sarcasm in case people haven't figured that out. Should we set Mirror? I mean, we get punished by Breaker. Do we get punished by anything else? Yeah, not really. Yeah, we'll just say go. So he's got 1 Thunder Dragon in his hands. So we're actually off to a good start. It's like our opponent, oh, okay, he opened a pretty strong hand. So what? Like, we're just gonna be, you know, kind of on the aggro train. The real question is, what do we get with Sangan? I mean, Angel isn't bad. Spy isn't bad, but I feel like we're not gonna do a lot with either of those things. I mean, we've already, like, summoned Zaborg. Yeah, it's probably just better to get Angel, right? Yeah, I think getting Angel's definitely better. Because, yeah, this dies, and then our opponent's gonna, like, set a monster next turn. And then we can, like, summon the Angel and attack into it. Or if our opponent goes Breaker, we book the Breaker, and then we go Angel, attack the Breaker. I mean, this is probably another Dekochi, but it could be something else, because he didn't banish any Dekochis when we knocked. I'm actually happy if this is Spy. Okay, it's just another Dekochi. But yeah, it's like our opponent had a very strong opening, but we're doing fine. Like, a lot of people would just panic here. Like, oh, my opponent had a good opening hand, game's already over. It's like, no, I'd say we're roughly 50% to win this game, you know, realistically. It's kind of nice to draw Poth the turn that your opponent Dust Shoots. And this is interesting that he sent back Breaker over Sork. Because we do have the Light and Dark in our grave. And our opponent's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care that you have the Light and the Dark. I care about the Breaker. I mean, he's basically trying to tell me that he has Mirror Force set. or Solemn. He could also have Solemn set, and he doesn't want to get that hit by Breaker either. If I'd guess, I'd say this is probably like, I don't know, Magician of Faith plus Mirror Force. I mean, it could be a spy, but like, if it's spy, then like, why didn't he send back the Chaos Sorcerer? I realized too, he can use Dust Tornado's second effect to potentially play around another Dust Shoot. If our opponent plays Duo, though, we kind of get brutalized. Okay. I was making sure that, like, he didn't have, that he didn't have a spy. Wow, that is actually just so brutal. He had MST, Mind Control, Heavy Storm, and Duo. Like, he literally just got rid of every single card. Which is, I mean, that's pretty wild. I'm definitely going to go through all the angels. I might even just get the DD Warrior Lady. And then just try to, like, return for game. I mean, obviously you can't return for game this turn, but you guys get the idea. What I want to know is, like, why did he summon Thunder Dragon? Like, why didn't he just set the Thunder Dragon? Like, what is he so scared of? So we've actually thinned out our deck, like, quite substantially. Realize we have 22 cards in our deck to our opponent's 24. So even after, like, all these Dekochis and Gracefuls, we have less cards in our deck than our opponent does. Which, like, that definitely matters. Return right now is 5,700 damage, by the way. Our opponent's at 6k. I mean, maybe we should have just had the Spy go in for 12. That might have just been, like, a mistake. Our opponent's used Mirror already. He has not used Torrential. He just kept the Sinister in his hand. To me, that indicates this is probably a Raigeki break. And then the question is, what are we going to do about it? I mean, we could just turn our guy to attack mode and start attacking. Yeah. I'm just going to hope that he'll end phase Raigeki break the new card. Because people usually, like, if they're going to use Spell or Trap removal, they're usually going to try to hit the new card. So he does have light in the dark. I'm just worried this is like Magician of Faith. I feel like if this is Magician of Faith, we're just gonna lose. I don't know. We'll probably just attack. Hopefully we get some valuable info here. Alright, well we actually just have another return, so... I mean, we could just lose to Torrential. But I think it's more likely to be a Raigeki break. Oh, that's brutal. It's really weird for him to have Torrential there, because he basically misplayed by not setting Sinister on an earlier turn if he had Torrential. Which is why I was thinking it's probably not Torrential. Leaving Sinister in hand and having a Raigeki break set would make more sense. But, I mean, I guess sometimes your opponent just gives you the wrong read. You could have won... Oh, what? Well, it depends. Because if my opponent's set monster was a spy... Then I couldn't have won. And realized that our opponents used... No... Oh, no! He said he didn't run spy. Oh, yeah, you're right. We can go MST. Yeah, you're right. You're right, I misplayed. You can even do it the other way around. You can go return chain MST or MST chain return. But yeah, we punted that game. So yeah, we should have just attacked and then gone MST chain return. Yeah, and our opponents use 0 crossouts, so we're probably just dead. Well, we have return to block damage, but realistically... Well, his set monster is basically guaranteed to be Sinister. Blade Knight would be better than Ninja here, just because the Blade Knight would have 2k. Lewis, I actually was going to do, like, Edison stream next time. Like, even before you said anything, like, I was thinking, like, I should just do, like, a full Edison stream. Because I think, like, I don't know, some people, I think, maybe think that I don't know anything about Edison. But I actually, like, in ladder, I've had a higher win rate with Edison than I have in GOAT format. Which is kind of crazy. It's interesting that he Saku'd Spy and not Ninja. I mean, there might be some reason for that. Like, maybe it's because he has Snatch Steal. And he wants to go... I don't know. I mean, the format's not over. I just think it'd be interesting to play Edison just because, like... The thing is, like, in Edison, I actually just think I have a broken deck. And people just, like, don't understand that it's broken. Whereas in GOAT format, I just play normal decks. Like, in GOAT format, everything's been figured out already. Like, you're not going to see me on stream one day going, like, oh, I have this new broken GOAT format deck, right? Like, that's not a thing. Whereas, like, in Edison, like, I legitimately think there are, like, OP decks that people just don't play. Which I think is, like, pretty bizarre. Like, if you look at the decks that top Edison tournaments, most of them are, like, tier 2 decks. And it's not, like, for any particular reason other than people don't know about the broken decks. Yeah, I mean, maybe the best Edison players do think that. It's like, you know, how would I know? But if you look at what people actually play, it seems like they don't think Frogs is the most broken deck. Hold on, let me make sure I shuffled. Yeah, I did shuffle. Hot take, I legitimately don't even think deck dev is good against Frogs. Like, it's fine. Like, if you happen to be maining deck dev, I'm not saying you should take it out. But if you think deck dev destroys Frogs, you literally haven't played the matchup. Like, I could name 5 cards that are better against Frogs than deck dev. Like, it's a fine card, but, like, it is just not even close to destroying frogs. And the problem is that you'll basically never activate deck dev on turn 1. If there was some way to consistently activate deck dev turn 1, that would be one thing. But, like, because there's not, they're going to be able to play out all of their relevant deck dev hits before you activate deck dev. Yeah, I think we should just, well, what should we do this game? Probably just set spot. Yeah, this is a little problematic. Yeah, I guess maybe I should have known that would happen. Yeah, maybe I should have just set Sangan, actually. Yeah, last turn I wasn't thinking. I knew he had Raigeki Break because I saw it with Dust Shoot, so I should have just tried to set Sangan. That was the better play. I don't know, maybe I should just get Warrior Lady. Yeah, he doesn't have, like, another Raigeki Break set here. He shouldn't, at least. Yeah, I mean, in Edison, the most popular deck overall is Blackwings. And by the way, I think Blackwings are a very good deck, too. But I also think, like, a lot of the people who play Blackwings are just playing, like, very obviously suboptimal builds of Blackwings. And, like, I'll give you, like, the easiest example. The easiest example is the fact that Blackwing decks aren't playing 2 Royal Oppression, a lot of them. Like, Royal Oppression is ridiculously good in Blackwings. Like, if you side the second, you're basically going to be siding in the second copy 80% of the time. So it's like, why on earth would you not main that card? Oh, hitting the Faith is good. But yeah, it just makes, like, actual no sense. This set is probably either a Mirror or Torrential. So I'm not going to summon Warrior Lady. So let's see. He could go, if it's Torrential, he could go normal summon Sinister, flip up Torrential, say go. Would that be something that I'm okay with? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, we'll just set this say go. I mean, it's... Here's the thing, it's not amazing in the mirror. Is it like an awful, horrible, dead card? Absolutely not. Like, realize that Bora and Gale special summon themselves from the hand. Right? Like... I don't know. It makes no goddamn sense to me. But it's like, either way, like, the matchups where it's not that good aren't popular enough to justify not playing it. No, because realize, like, Teledad decks played Royal Oppression. I don't even, honestly, I don't even think that's true. Because as the player who has Oppression, like, I know Oppression, like, it reads like it's a symmetrical card. Right? Like Oppression... Like, Oppression, like, oh, it negates my stuff, it makes their stuff. But as the player who, like, physically has Oppression, you have better control over breaking the symmetry of the card, right? Just like Torrential Tribute. Like, it's easy to say, like, oh, Torrential Tribute isn't good, it destroys my monsters and their monsters. But it's like, yeah, but if I'm the one who has the Torrential, I can use it at the opportunity that breaks the symmetry of the card. And Royal Oppression is very much the same way. So is any Floodgate, right? Like, I'm not saying you should do this, by the way, but you could even play a card like Skill Drain in this deck right here, and it wouldn't be half bad. I'm not saying it's optimal. I'm not saying we should all go run out and try Skill Drain, but, like, obviously this deck has big monsters. It has things like Shining Angel, so with a deck like this, you could potentially break the symmetry of Skill Drain and say, well, even though it negates some of my own stuff too, like, I'm going to be able to activate it at an advantageous time. And again, it's like, realize that in 2010 and on, every single Blackwing deck that did well at any YCS had 2 Oppressions in it. Right? Like, even in after Shining Darkness was released, right? Even after Shining Darkness was released, Blackwings were still a top-tier deck, and a big part of the reason was that you got to main 2 Oppressions. And in an Edison format that is very much, like, faster today than it actually was in, 2010 in actual Edison format, Royal Oppression's value goes up tremendously. Like, as the Frog player, the card that I'm scared of the most in the format is Royal Oppression. Right? Like, that is the best card against, like, the good builds of Frogs. Whether or not another deck, like, it's so weird to me that people will compare, like, how good a card is in a deck compared to how good it is in another deck. Right? That's not what makes a card good. Like, I've even said this in some of my videos. Like, people will not play a card that's like a 7 out of 10 in their deck because it's a 9 out of 10 in another deck. But that comparison is entirely irrelevant. Like, that has nothing to do with anything. And it's like the same thing with like Torrential Tribute in a Chaos deck, for example. Like, some people will not play Torrential Tribute in their Chaos deck because it's not as good as Torrential Tribute is in a Goat Control deck, for example. But the difference is, or not the difference, the thing is that Torrential Tribute is still going to be one of the most valuable cards in a Chaos deck. Like, yes, it might be an 8 out of 10 in your deck, or a 7 out of 10 in your deck, as opposed to a 9 out of 10 in some other deck, but it's still up on that threshold to be good. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's, like, this is common sense. This is common sense, right? Like, you wouldn't go, oh, I'm not going to play Graceful in my Chaos Return deck because it's not as good as Graceful is in like a Chaos Turbo deck. Like, that would be insane, right? We can all agree that that would just be utterly insane if someone were to say that. Because it's Graceful. It's an amazing card. And Oppression, same thing. It's an amazing card. Why aren't you playing it? And there are very few decks, by the way. Very few decks where you could, like, play Oppression in it and your Oppression would actively be bad. Obviously, Frogs are the easy example because you're not going to play 2 Oppressions in your deck that's also playing 2 Treeborn Frogs. That makes no sense. But you can play Oppression in almost any deck and it will get value. Yes, I know that Graceful and Oppression are different, but it's a fundamental of the game. Yes, and Oppression is basically always good too. Like, it boggles my mind that people cannot understand this. Like, sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes, like, there's a life point differential where it's like, I have an Oppression in play, and, like, I'm at 2,000 to my opponent's 8,000 or something, and then, like, because that Oppression isn't good, but, like, Oppression won't be bad because your opponent's deck has less special summons than yours. Like, you can have twice as many special summons in your deck as your opponent's deck and still get value out of Oppression. Right? Like, that's what people... That's what people, like, fail to understand about the card fundamentally. And again, it was like the same thing in Teledad format, right? Teledad had the most... Again, like, what's crazy about that format is Teledad had the most special summons of any deck in the format. Teledad had the most special summons of any deck in the format, and yet it was, like, basically the only deck that mained Oppression. Well, there were some exceptions. Like, okay, there were some other decks that mained Oppression too. But generally speaking, it was more common to see Oppression in a Teledad deck than any other deck in the format. And don't get me wrong, there are different ways to build Teledad. I'm not saying every Teledad deck should have Oppression, or every Teledad deck... The point is that, like, Oppression, like, whether or not it's a good card, whether or not Oppression is a good card has very little to do with how many special summons your deck has versus how many your opponent's deck has. If anything, it has more to do with how many special summons your opponent's deck has. I mean, I as far as the Chaos Warrior thing or whatever, I think it's okay. Like, I'll be honest, it's not really my style. It's not the style of deck that I like to play. But that doesn't mean it's bad, right? That's not how that works. Yeah, I mean, if you like it, play it. Like, if someone's winning a lot with a deck, I'm never going to tell them not to play it unless it's like, oh, I've been winning a lot against 60-card Toon decks. Then I might be like, hey, maybe you should test more. I am, like, a very simple person. I like to play decks that have, like, a very, like, scripted game plan. That's just kind of what I like to be doing. At this point, we can just lose to a BLS, but, it is what it is. Oh, he hasn't used Mirror or Torrential. So if we flip Spy, and he activates Torrential, what's our game plan? Set another Spy, I guess? I guess that's not terrible. Yeah, I think we'll just go get the Spy and attack. Mindcon. Attack, attack, attack. If he Mirror Forces, then we set another Spy and hope it's good enough. I'm just thinking if there's, like, a way we can get, like, if there's a reason to grab Spy in defense. Well, if we grab Spy in defense... If he Mirror Forces here... Oh, he just conceded. All right. Well, we definitely threw game one. Someone pointed out that I threw game one. They were correct. But we got to have, like, a pretty interesting match. Like, I think this matchup, it's actually pretty representative of, like, how the matchup goes, often case. Like, you got to see a lot of sort of back and forth and how the dynamics play out. So I think that was, like, a good, a good educational match. And yeah, I mean, Rescue Cat's a good deck too. It's funny, I actually think, like, if Dust Shoot wasn't in GOAT format, I think Rescue Cat would be a lot better, because the problem with, like, Rescue Cat is that you play these, like, 3 cards that are broken. Their names are Rescue Cat, and Rescue Cat. But then you play, like, the cards that you're trying to search with Rescue Cat that aren't that good. So the problem is when your opponent Dust Shoots you, they get to send back Rescue Cat, but then leave your hand with, like, the bad stuff. So I think that can be, like, frustrating. Obviously, depending on, like, what build you're playing, you can try to, like, sort of set a bunch of spells or traps early and then make Dust Shoots dead, like, if they kind of draw them in the mid-game. But, yeah, I think, like... I mean, you could say that about, like, a lot of combo decks. They kind of, like, suffer against, like, Dust Shoot and Duo, obviously. This deck, though, like, Chaos Return, I wouldn't really classify this as a combo deck. But this deck does pretty well against Dust Shoot, I think. I mean, obviously, Dust Shoot's still, like, a fine card, but you have a lot of redundancy. And I didn't know Dust Shoot was less prominent in decks. I didn't know that was... I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. See, he'll activate one dust shoot. Oh, he just has straight up nothing. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, as far as frogs go, like, I definitely think people could, like, metagame against it more if they want to. Like, this is the argument that I always end up having people regarding combo decks, right? Where, like, when I was playing Gishki, people would say, like, oh, well, people could just side Joel and Lockbird and then you'd never be able to win. And I'd be like, yeah, but they don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's... Like, people always are, like, arguing, like, hypotheticals or making, like, weird comparisons instead of just living in the actual real world, which, to me, is just, like, so bizarre. You know? And yes, I knew he had Torrential, but I wanted him to use it. I mean, this is a hot take, but I think the top three in Edison format are easily, like, Black Wings and Frogs, number 1 and number 2. And then, like, number 3, I would say, is probably Dragons. I know Dragons, like, haven't really done that well recently, but in, like, most formats, like, when people go back and play past formats, usually the differences, like, between the modern version of the format and the old version of the format is that people find more, like, more powerful, more high ceiling things that they can be doing, right? So, like, Chaos Turbo is an example of that in GOAT format. Even something like Library FTK is an example of that in GOAT format. There are, like, a lot of examples of it in GOAT format, to the point that, like, GOAT format today almost entirely, like, doesn't resemble old GOAT format. And then in every format, it's kind of the same thing. Like, even in, like, Tengu format, people have found, like, higher ceiling versions of the Tengu strategy. And in Edison format, I think it's, like, kind of the same thing. Oh, no, I'm just going to lose to Cole. Ah, never mind. Yeah, I'm just losing here. I misplayed. Yeah, are people not playing Future Fusion? Why would you not play Future Fusion? I'm confused. Oh, by drop you mean, okay, like actually play, yeah. Well, it's actually funny. So like in the like in shit, in 2012 format, like summer of 2012, there were some Chaos Dragon players who didn't play Future Fusion because they didn't want to make their opponents MST live. Like that was like that. I swear to God, like you can go check the top deck list if you don't believe me. I topped that format and I was playing Future Fusion, but some other people didn't, and their logic was, oh, Future Fusion is the only MST target in my deck, so I'm just gonna cut it and make their one MST dead. Like, I swear to God, that is what people said. It is wild, but it's, so that's why, like, when you said that, I was like, I thought maybe people were just legitimately cutting, they were just legitimately cutting Future Fusion. Okay, he's got like Mystic level 2. Yeah, I mean, you're right that maybe like the Chaos deck can go Stardust before Future Fusion, but like the Chaos Dragon deck in 2012, it did not have you know, it did not have like ways to make Stardust. It was not like that kind of deck. I just hope he doesn't hit our Shining Angel or our Book of Moon. I mean, the best card for us would be for him to hit our Solemn. And he did hit our Solemn. So that's really nice, actually. Yeah, I've heard people have been liking Gigavise. Alright, Dust is fine. He hits one of our cards and we get to keep the other one. Oh, Pot is so nice. You know, in situations like this where we're both low on cards, Pot's very good. If we both have like 10 cards, it doesn't matter as much. Set monsters, say go. I mean, I'm gonna assume this is probably like a DD Warrior Lady. Which makes playing Mobius not very good. Oh, I'd get absolutely owned by a Mirror Force here. I don't know, I think I have to risk it. I'm gonna play as though this is Warrior Lady. Yep, it is Warrior Lady. Can't say my reads are right 100% of the time, but they are right more often than not. And now our Mobius gets a little better now that the Warrior Lady's gone. Because, like, I didn't want to Tribute Angel for Mobius. Like, kill my opponent's set Mirror Force, let's say. But then the Warrior Lady banishes the Mobius. Like, that would be kind of shit. And I don't think there's any Rota target that we care about here. If he's smart, he's going to get Exiled Force. But he might get, I don't know, he might get a Blade Knight or something. Okay, he is getting the Exiled Force. Yeah, and that sucks, because, like, we can't use Book to save our Angel here. And yeah, now if he has like a Blade Knight, we're not going to be happy. I mean, our opponent has a lot of experience and he's playing pretty well. Like, yeah, his rating is low, but he hasn't made any mistakes so far. Jesus Christ. Does he have the Blade Knight too? What? Oh, Gigantes. Okay, I didn't realize it was that deck. Yeah, we're just getting owned here because we're just stuck with this dead Mobius in our hands. What we need is like a top deck Chaos Monster. I mean, my rating is 587, but I don't really play a whole lot. Wow, he just did not respect the back row at all. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like our opponent ran like a little better than he's supposed to there. Because he just kept having outs for whatever we played. Like, oh, we play a monster, he has an out. Oh, we play a Speller Trap, he has an out. And I don't know, if I knew it was Earth Aggro, maybe I would have not sided in Mobius. Sorry to say, this opponent is highly rated. And we've also just lost like every single RPS today. Yeah, we've lost every single one. So what's good? Not my RPS results, apparently. Yeah, this is not like a good start at all. I mean, GOAT format is generally not like a die roll format, but this is one of those hands where it's like, if we go first and dust shoot him before he dust shoots us, like, we'd be in a much better spot. Wow, he just hits like the best one. And now he just gets to not... He just can summon a bunch of monsters, never play around our stuff all game. This is very depressing. And he just has Graceful too. Alright, there's like almost no way we're winning this game. This might actually be like the Thunder Dragon Chaos Warrior thing. Just because he's playing Sork and Blade Knight. It could also be a Chaos Return Mirror. That's a possibility, too. I don't know. It might just be Chaos Return Mirror, if I'm being totally honest. Let me make sure he shuffled. I think he did. Okay, he did. Yeah, I will say, it's like, normally, like, I don't know how I'm trying to say, how I want to phrase this, but I think Trinity doesn't matter as much as people think it does. And, like, I've made a video, of course, previously on the data showing that Trinity doesn't really have, like, much of a correlation of, like, who B2, because there are some games where it's, like, perfect example is, like, when we were playing the Chaos guy, he opened Thunder Dragon Graceful game 1, and, like, we should have won. Like, I lost, but I lost because I was an idiot and punted. Right? Like, sometimes it's like you go +1 on turn 1, but, like, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, it's much more about how, like, threats and answers line up. Okay, this is good. So I'm probably going to lose this game, but I want him to graceful before he beats us because I want to have an idea of what deck he's on going into the next game. Okay, so now that we've seen the return, that actually gives us like a lot of valuable info. Would you rather not use Trinity in a deck? What kind of stupid question is that? Or maybe you're being serious. Like maybe you're legitimately asking. I'll actually give you the benefit of the doubt. So obviously in a combo deck, you don't want to use Duo. That's about it. So in general, here, like, I think Dust Tornado is a card we can get a lot of value out of, like killing our opponent's return and then setting our own. I would argue that one Roulette Barrel should probably come in, like, over this Blade Knight. Because, like, Blade Knight only hits Dekochi, and, like, that's it. And sometimes they might just have, like, a way to stop it. Like, they'll just Mirror Force your Blade Knight or something. Like, this is a matchup where I do think Ninja Grandmaster is better than Blade Knight. To be honest, I'm not really sure how much I like Dust Shoot either. Like, I think we probably leave it in going first. Because, like, we saw that game, the turn when Dust Shoot basically won him the game. But I think if we win game 2, I think game 3 I'm probably going to side out Dust Shoots. Like, for most matchups, you don't do it that way. But I think this is a matchup where whoever's going first, like, legitimately does impact the power of a card like Dust Shoot. So I think, like, we'll probably do this for game 2, and then for game 3 it's going to be slightly different. Yeah, I mean, this is a great hand. We can still lose, obviously, but we're off to a good start. And to be honest, even, like, one Mind Control can probably be sided in as well. Like, you definitely don't want all 3. But I think you want, like, 1. Deco, Solemn Angel, return. I don't know. I'm definitely a Roulette Barrel enjoyer. I am unapologetically a Roulette Barrel enjoyer. He's just setting all 3. That's unfortunate. Because I obviously I want to hit the Solemn. We got a 1 out of 3 to hit the Solemn. I suck. So this can be either a Deco or an Angel. And I think we're fine with either. If we can set, yeah. We can set Angel. I'm just trying to think what he's going to do. He's going to flip a set. Right, if it's a deco, he's going to flip it. He's going to attack our new set. If it's Angel, we grab another Angel. Then we go Angel, ram into the deco. I think he's more likely to set a deco that... Yeah, his set is probably deco. I'd say there's like a 70% chance this is deco. So, yeah, I think... we want to do something like this. No, he has Solemn. Like, yes, I know I can flip Spy and Tribute for Zaborg, and then he Solemns it, but I don't want to do that yet. Like, I can always do that later. I can do the exact same play later if I want to. What I want him to do is I want him to flip his deco. I want him to attack into our Angel. We grab a second Angel. Then we have Angel ram into his deco. That's a really good top deck. It's not the end of the world. Like, obviously it's easy to say, well, you should have played Zaborg because your opponent top deck duo. But obviously I don't know my opponent's going to top deck duo. Oh, he actually didn't set the deco. That's kind of weird. I might just Mirror Force. I kind of want to do it. You know what? I'll just let it happen. I'll just grab Roulette Barrel. And these are like the spots where Roulette Barrel is good. We turn our Roulette Barrel to defense. We start blowing things up. And we just draw another Zaborg anyway, see? Life is good, folks. Yeah, and now we'll just do the play. Because now if he Solemns, I don't really care because we can just sit on Roulette Barrel all game. Okay, so yeah, now he Solemns. And then we just turn this to defense, and then we say go. Easy game. I mean, every turn we've got an 11 out of 36 chance to kill the, to kill one of these monsters. And it's like, I'll take that. Now, it'd be really good for him here is if he had his own Zaborg. Spy's kind of a shitty top deck. I might like leave the Spy in hand just in case I top deck a Graceful and I want something to discard to it. Yeah, we'll just say go. I'm feeling pretty safe. He's used Duo already, so we don't have to play around that. We just have to play around Dust Shoot, potentially. Well, statistically, this isn't supposed to happen. All right, well, I mean, I'm content to just keep doing draw pass. So his set monster is probably a spy. The worst case scenario is our opponent goes flip spy, tribute for Zaborg, but we have Mirror Force. I probably want to play something just so our opponent can't dust shoot us. We kind of have multiple options here. We can set the spy, we can set the return, or we can play the BLS. And we do not have our own Solemn. That's what I really wish. If we had our own Solemn, I'd definitely just be playing the BLS, right? I think the safe play is just setting our spy. Well, he's got to return in some unknown. I don't really see how we're going for game. If our opponent... I mean, our opponent's at 35. How are we ringing anything for game? And I don't see any way to, like, deal him damage. Oh, that's a good card. Obviously, at some point, if our opponent activates return, then we can just ring something for game. Oh, so you just want me to just straight up attack with BLS? And then just hope our opponent doesn't have, like, Book, Torrential, or Mirror Force? That's, like, a lot of things we're not playing around. That's, like, a lot of things we're not playing around. I mean, if our opponent, like, has a one-outer, like, oh, I beat everything except one card, I'm fine with that, but I don't want my opponent to have, like, a four-outer. I have return in hand. I don't have return set. I mean, I can set it. I mean, again, like, here's the thing. We're at 8,000 life. And we're up on cards, and we have, like, a good board position. Like, I don't need to get aggressive. Like, obviously, if we have Solemn here, just our entire life gets easier. But, like, we don't have Solemn. Our opponent probably has Spy set. Yeah, this is a Spy, this is something else. Yeah, I mean, the cards that I'm worried about are Torrential and Heavy Storm. In general, right? If we set return, we can get Stormed. If we summon BLS, we can get Torrentialed. And that's kind of like where the problem lies as a whole. Yeah, I guess if we get Torrentialed here, I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it, I guess. This deck doesn't play Magician of Faith. Keep in mind, we only know one card. We know one of his set cards is return, and we don't know the other set card. And I don't know where you're getting this idea that if TT's set, we win. Like, if... Trench was definitely the worst card our opponent could have played there. And it did not mean that we won. Like, we could win. You might even say we're favored to win. But you're speaking in absolutes and not thinking very much about what our opponent could have to stop a potential win. Yeah, but if we set the return early, we could have lost a Heavy Storm. I mean, it's always easy to say, like, oh, if you had just done X, Y, and Z earlier and your opponent didn't have an out to it, you would have won. Like, our opponent could have had outs at any time. He could have had Dust, he could have had MST, he could have had Breaker, he could have had Storm. Alright. Luckily, I don't really need that Mirror Force very much. Mirror Force is probably, like, the least valuable of our back rows. The answer, by the way, is I'm going to ring this Breaker. That's what I'm going to ring. See, he was trying to get our return. Luckily, the Dust whiffed, and then we had ring for the Breaker, so he didn't get our return. And I think I'm going to play around Mirror... I'm going to turn the BLS to defense. And I think the plan here is to force out a set return to block our guys. Yeah. So he goes to 950, and then we'll just not attack anything. Because he obviously don't want to, like, attack the Shining Angel. That would just be silly. We could attack the Dekochi, though. It means that future returns aren't as good. So I am going to attack the Dekochi. It also means that if he books the Dekochi, it doesn't stick around in the end phase. Technically, I should have had Spy attack the Dekochi, not Angel. But that's relatively minor. So yeah, we're at 64. I mean, the best card he could have right now would be, like, BLS. Why would I knock the face down so I could banish the Angel with BLS? Angel's gonna get banished either way. Alright. Easy game, easy game. I'm trying to think, like, how good is Bookamoon in this matchup? Probably not great. I'm just thinking, like, do I want the second book or do I want the third dust? Like, what should we think is better on average? I don't know. I feel like for me, I'd rather have the second book, but maybe some of you guys would rather just have, like, the dust. I mean, you could also reasonably put, like, a Saku in here or something, but, like, I don't think we really need it that much. Mobius also isn't terrible, but, like, the problem is that Zaborg is still better, and I don't want to go to 3 tributes. Here's the thing, it's like in general, I mean, I know I don't always do this perfectly, but in general, kind of like the modes that I'm operating in are, if I'm currently winning, I'm not going to take very many risks, but if I think the game isn't developing the way that I want it to, if my opponent is like, looks like he either has an edge or is about to get an edge, then I am going to take more risks. So when we're like up a million cards, up a million life, whatever, I would just rather not take risks, right? I would rather not, like, play 5 of my monsters into a torrential. It's sort of the old mentality, like, the expression Magic players use is playing to win versus playing to not lose. And there's, like, a difference between them. Mobius is definitely, like, Mobius would definitely be a good card. But again, I don't think it's better than Zaborg, and I don't think I want to go to 3 tributes. I think reasonably you could go to 3 tributes, though. I mean, there's some risk associated with it. And if anything, if you're going first, I think you're more likely to tribute summon in general, right? Because you're up on the summon. But, yeah, I think I'd rather just do it this way. Like, Zaborg is definitely, like, the better tribute, though. Like, the best thing my opponent could do next turn would be to play Zaborg. Especially now that he got my Mirror Force. Like, Zaborg's gonna do work here, if he has it. Maybe he only plays, like, 1, I don't know. Because we haven't seen it in either of the last 2 games. Yep. Like I said, Zaborg is a very good card in this matchup. And we're obviously either setting Sengen or Deco. I'm not really sure which is better, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, it's not about playstyle, it's about, like, EV. It's about what's correct. Like, if you're destroying your opponent currently, but there's one card that your opponent could have to destroy you, why would you not play around that one card? Right? Like, that's... This, again, like, a lot of the stuff we've been talking about today is just common sense. Like, if you're just like, oh, I'm 99% to win... and the only way I can lose is if they have this one card, then your goal is to either make sure they can't draw or search that one card or whatever, or that you play around it if possible. Obviously, sometimes you just can't play around stuff. I understand that. Not every card in the game can be played around. But it's like, this is particularly true with stuff like Mirror Force Torrential Heavy Storm. Brain Control is not very good with Zaborg. And sometimes you just won't have enough life to pay for it because you're running 3 Solemns and 2 Returns. Brain Control, it's a card I really like a lot, actually. Brain Control is, like, one of my favorite cards in GOAT format, but I don't think it's very good in this deck. Like, even here, even though I have Snatch Steal, I don't want to go, like, Snatch Tribute. I would rather just go, like, Break or Snatch, Attack, Attack. Having Breaker plus Snatch here and Book is, like, an extremely good combination for me. Well, there wasn't that much our opponent could draw that would allow him to sort of like put us on the back foot, right? Most of the cards that we were worried about were stuff that were answers to our cards, not like other threats. Does that make sense? So if your opponent has like a threat that they could top deck and beat you, then you want to try to push for damage to give them the least amount of time to draw that threat. But if the card that beats you is like an answer, well then it's like totally different because you can play around the answer. That's kind of the difference. And if our opponent has like a Chaos Monster, well, Chaos Sorcerer specifically, I'm going to have a very interesting decision. Because if our opponent goes Chaos Sorcerer, use effect on Zaborg. Potty Greed isn't a threat. Potty Greed is card advantage. Snatch we weren't worried about. Snatch wouldn't have really mattered. Chaos Monster also wouldn't have really mattered that much. Unless it was like Chaos Monster into return for game, which like he didn't have any way to do because we were at like 8,000 and we had a bunch of monsters on the board. So like as far as threats go, it has to be a threat that actually can win them the game. I don't think Solemning the Breaker was terrible, actually. I mean, I don't know what his hand is. I don't know, like... Obviously, it's easy to look at our hands. No, Threatening Roar isn't a threat. Oh, you're, like, making a pun. Okay. Yes. Very, 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 very funny. I get it, because the card has the word threat in its name. But yeah, I kind of always operate... Like, every turn I'm thinking of, like... On our opponent's next turn, what is the worst thing they could do? The worst thing our opponent could do here would be to play a Chaos Monster. So if there was, I don't know, hypothetically some way I could play around a Chaos Monster, I would try to do that. But of course, like I said, like you can't play around everything. And don't get me wrong, having the mentality of like, oh, I can play around everything... That is also, like, a flawed mentality. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. And again, in this situation, I think, well, what can we draw that's going to help us? Like, we can top deck our own Chaos Monster. That would be good. And then I try to think, like, if I book here, what are the odds that he doesn't have a better monster? So what did he do last turn? He played Breaker. He didn't set other back rows. Yeah, he probably has another monster. So if I book here, like, our guy's just going to get run over. Now, that could not be terrible. Like, if we book our guy and it forces our opponent to summon a Dekochi, that's not terrible for us, because then we're stopping our opponent from drawing a card with Dekochi. But he could have, like, a Blade Knight or a Shining Angel or something. And then that would be bad for us. Yeah, or Tribe. So, not booking the Zaborg was... You know, it worked out for us. Ugh. Ugh. I mean, we have to use this duo. I mean, we don't have to, but, like... We don't have a lot of options here. And now we're basically hoping our opponent doesn't top deck yet another monster. Yeah, I can play someone. I'll play one person, and then we can call it a day. See, I think we probably just want to search spy. We just draw another. Our draws have not been good. Our draws have been kind of god-awful. And now, yeah, if he has return set, we lose. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play me, obviously don't... Like, just, you can have the window open as long as it's minimized, but then turn the volume off. So now what we're hoping here is that main phase 2, he doesn't want to discard the card in his hand. Yeah, so he banishes instead of using Tribe, and then now he can tribute the Spy for the Zaborg. And he's used 2 Solemns already, so he probably doesn't have that. Okay, so he attacked with the Sork, so he can't use Sork's effect, but he can use Tribe effect. Oh no, you wouldn't want to use Tribe effect. It would kill his own Sork. I hope he doesn't realize that and just uses Tribe to kill his own Sork. That would be great. But yeah, what we need a top deck is Chaos Monsters. Man, all of my draws have been not good. Alright, so at this point, it's like, our opponent's back row, it is almost certainly something that stops us, you know, almost certainly something that stops us from winning, but we have no choice. We just have to hope our opponent's back row is a bluff. It's basically the only way that we're winning, is to just hope our opponent's back row is nothing. I don't see how that could ever be possible, but it's kind of, you know, what can you do? Okay, somehow our opponent's back row is nothing. Like, what can that even be? The only thing that makes sense is Torrential. It could be Torrential, or it could be Dust. Obviously, we're about to find out if it's Dust. But if it's not like MST Dust, okay, then it would have to be Torrential. So yeah, you'll see that, like, the way that I'm playing is I'm just running through all the possibilities. It's the old Sherlock Holmes quote. You know, once you eliminate all the possibilities, whatever remains must be the truth. That's all we're doing. I'm not like some sort of like wizard here. And now, see, now this is where we have the debate of, do we go for game with BLS or not? Right? Our opponent could have return. Obviously, so last turn our opponent had 2 draws. That's 2 out of 29. 2 of those cards could be Mirror Torrential. Now, the odds would generally indicate that is unlikely to be the case. And then it's like, here it's different. We're at 600. If we were at 8,000, easy play, right? If we're at 8,000 life, we just play conservative. But we're at 600 life, which is a lot different. And at a certain point, we're giving our opponent extra draws to like draw into something like a Ring of Destruction. So because of all of those factors, I think we have to go for the aggressive play. Okay, he just had ring anyways. All right. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about that. Because he could have ringed our Zaborg for game either way. It doesn't... I don't know why you didn't just, like, ring in our draw phase. Oh, and in case you didn't realize... It says ACP. I don't know if he knows that I'm Graceful Charity, but I am Graceful Charity. I'll give him a couple of minutes. But yeah, I think that match like was actually, again, I think it was very like educational. I think it's very educational as far as like what your appetite for risk should be in various game states, right? The more likely it is that you're going to lose, the more appetite you should have for risk. Obviously, the ring doesn't play into any of our calculations because if he has ring, we're just dead no matter what. All right, I don't know what that was about. Maybe he still doesn't realize that I'm ACP. I think he like turned the stream off. All right, hopefully. This is decent-ish hand. I don't know what he's playing. Does he play Chaos Return too? I don't know. Oh no, he's probably just playing just normal Chaos deck. Moral Games, I don't know if this is like a joke again, but that's just not how Yu-Gi-Oh works. You can't chain BLS's effect to ring. Yeah, this is a good start. Like, going turn 2 Zaborg, very strong against any kind of Chaos deck, really. Alright, he's got Light in the Dark, but we have Dust Shoot, so... Not complaining. If he kills our Zaborg, then we've got Light in the Dark. So, I really like the way this game is developing so far. It's definitely developing in a manner that benefits us. He has no spells, right? Okay, well then the obvious one is Tribe. Did he not shuffle his deck? Oh yeah, he is not going to be happy with this Dust Shoot. He is not going to be happy with this Dust Shoot. Yeah, that's actually a good play. I thought he was going to kill my Zaborg, but if he killed my Zaborg, I was going to say, you know what? He should actually just consider killing the spy instead. But he actually did the correct play and killed the spy instead. And the reason why it's better to kill the spy is that if he top decks a Sork, he gets to banish our Zaborg and then make our Sorks dead. Now, obviously here we have outs to that. But, like, in general, it was 100% the correct play for him there to kill the spy. Obviously, we were very ahead either way. And I don't know, I guess he just decided to concede. But yeah, that was a good play. I feel like there's something else I was supposed to cite out, but I forgot what it was. I don't know. Well, we could just... I don't know. I mean, it looks like he's just playing like a normal Chaos Turbo deck. I don't know that for a fact. He said something about, like, oh, I want to show you my deck list, which makes me think there's some sort of something different about it. I don't know. It seems like he's trying to tell me I have Spy set. See, this is an interesting situation here. Because if he has Spy, we want a Minecon. If he has basically anything else, we just want to summon Blade Knight. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Alright, I'm gonna Minecon. I might get got here. I might get got. Okay, it was a spy. Third book is for goat control. And some chaos control, depending on their builds. I don't know. I'll just go full aggro here. I mean, not quite full aggro. We're just gonna get in for 2k. Problem now is that he turns his spy to defense and we just kind of sit here for a while. Alright, so he top decks Thunder Dragon for the turn, it seems. Sorry, he was in the chat, he was asking me about landmines in Cambodia. And just for the record, like, yes, there are landmines in Cambodia, but they're just nowhere near where anyone lives. Like, if that makes sense. Maybe I'll just dust this because I don't really have like a reason not to. It's funny, I can Minecon again, but that just seems like an awful play. Well, who knows? If I Minecon... Hold on, if I Minecon as like a game... Let me think. 2000, 2024, 44, 58. Just making sure, just double checking the numbers. Man, I could put him at 200. I could put him at 200. You know what? You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to do it. Why? Because I'm a psychopath. That's why I'm going to do it. And it's crazy because if I had the spy attack last turn, it would have been game. But of course, it's like, again, it's like you don't know everything that's going to happen, right? I don't know. I mean, he just decided to concede. It's fine. Neither of those games were particularly interesting. That's obviously, it's not his fault. It's not my fault. I mean, the matchup is like very favorable for us, and the reason that it's favorable is because like we kind of have like the damage advantage in a sense. Like in this matchup, we are the beatdown. Okay. I was making sure he's okay with the fact that that I didn't unside. Now, this set monster, it could be a Sanguine. Most people do not have the balls to set Sinister turn 1 here, but it could be a Sanguine. Yeah, sending back the Dakochi definitely seems a little better. And I'm going to Minecon first before I Pot of Greed, because if the set monster is Spy, I want to thin out my deck before I activate Pot of Greed. See, and it was a Spy. Well, keep in mind, it's like we have 2 Minecons, and our opponent knows we have 2 Minecons. So, like, with the set monster, he didn't know that we had Minecon. So it's not like he was specifically trying to play around it. But if we don't use Minecon, then it lets him play around it for the rest of the game. So I definitely think it's correct to Minecon there. Oh, I should have end phase dusted. I'm kind of an idiot. Yeah, it's fine. Well, he doesn't know he has a Borg. So again, like in these dust sheet situations, I usually want to be playing the card that my opponent doesn't know that we have. That was a good torrential. Oh, I should have flipped the spy to thin out the deck of our third spy. That was a misplay on my part. Yeah, this is really anyone's game. It can go either way. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to mind con yet. See, now he's playing around the mind con now that he knows that we have it. See, that's the difference. And then I had a second reason for not using mind con, which I'll explain in a second here. So part of the reason that I did not use Mindcon there is that even if our opponent's set monster had been a Dakochi, I would have wanted to attack into the Dakochi to make our Dust Shoot live. So there's just basically no situation there where Mindcon makes sense, other than if he has another spy. That's basically the only time where we would want to do that. And now we're just going to dust the ring and just start going on the offensive. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we know he has Breaker, so we'll just say go. And the cool thing here is that if he summons Breaker and just say attacks over a Breaker, leaves it with the counter, we can mind con the Breaker, use the effect. I still think our opponent is favored to win this game though, even though he's down to like 5,000, just because we haven't really done a lot yet. Like, if he's able to, I don't know, do basically anything. Yeah, then this is like another one where it's like, well, you know, do I want to play her on Mirror or not? It's one card. I think I'm just going to cross out, attack with both my guys, put him at 2,000. Because being at 2,000 versus being at 600, I don't think is very different. Oh, and that's good. We got rid of a light. And this is a spot where I don't think anyone has the balls to not Mirror Force here. And by the way, whoever asked, I don't know who Zoran Mondami is. If I had to guess, I would guess that's like a sports player, but like I don't follow sports. So I don't know who that is. I mean, maybe that's some GOAT format player that somehow I've never heard of. That's possible too. And obviously, like, I think regarding Time Wizard rules, it should be obvious what my position is. But I think it's good that Konami basically, I don't know, reversed their position, so to speak. That they backpedaled. And this is like another spot where it's like, do we want to go for game? Do we not want to go for game? Obviously, if we want to go for game, we have to leave Mind Control in our hand. I mean, we're definitely discarding this Dakochi. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I just don't think he has Mirror Force. I don't believe him. If he saved Mirror Force this whole time, he just deserves to win. So he plays Solemn. Well, that kind of changes things. So now we just lose to Spy. Well, we don't lose to Spy, but we can't win through Spy. But then if it's not Spy, we probably win. Like, what if it's Night Assailant? Yeah, if it's Night Assailant, we win. Yeah, I just don't believe him. I'm sorry, I don't believe you. I do not believe you. Could be Spy, but I don't think it's Mirror Force. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we knew we had the Sork and the Breaker. Obviously, the Breaker wasn't doing anything. I think I'm gonna call it a day, actually. Like, my wife's home. I've got other stuff I want to do today. So if you guys have any, like, final questions, either about the deck or just whatever you want to ask me a question about, go ahead. Based on the stream, I did not really get enough data to determine if Ninja or Blade Knight is better, what we want to do with that slot. Oh yeah, I actually think DD Warrior Lady is, like, really underrated in, like, a normal Chaos Turbo deck. And one of the reasons that it is underrated is because post-side, well, or even game one, you can bait Mind Control. And sometimes you just get to discard it as a light, right? Like, I mentally think of DD Warrior Lady as being half a light monster. So if you run, like, 3 Thunder Dragons, 2 Faith, and a DD Warrior Lady, I'd say you're playing 5.5 light monsters. Which is still better than 5 light monsters, right? So yeah, I think there's other cards you can play too. Like, I think the most overrated card in Turbo is Night Assailant, and then I think the most underrated card is DD Warrior Lady. Well, Zaboomba, did you watch those games? What do you think? Was Triple Mindcon good? Honestly, like, I mean, this is, like, kind of a cop-out answer, but, like, the way you counter return is just by playing, like, a more combo-y combo deck. Like, something like Reasoning Gate's going to do pretty well against this. Maybe not so much, like, Library FTK, because the deck plays, like, 3 Solemns and Dust. But, yeah, I'd say, like, probably the deck I'd be most scared of playing against would be Reasoning Gate, if I was playing this list. Although, like, in general, if you're up against a really good GOAT control player, I would be worried too. Or even if you're up against a really good Chaos control player, I'd be worried too. But a lot of people who play GOAT control, like, don't have a lot of experience in the matchup, and it's hard to play GOAT control, like, at peak performance. What? Oh, would you want to see inside the deck? So, like, in this slot, because, like, I'm not going to lie, I don't think Blade Knight is quite good enough to play two of. So, it's kind of like, what do you do with this slot? You can make it a second Blade Knight. You can make it like a Kaiku. You can make it like a Tribe. If I cut this for a non-light, I'd be worried that we wouldn't have enough lights. But if you cut the Ninja for a Kaiku, it's like, well, you're cutting a light, but you're adding a dark, so maybe it's not so bad. Like, if we're testing other things in this slot, I would say, like, Kaiku would probably be something you could test. Like, Ninja, we never did anything with it. Like, we drew Ninja a couple of times, but we never actually resolved its effect, right? Like, we never killed a face-up defense position monster with Ninja. And also, I know people won't like to hear this, but I legitimately think you can cut Ninja for a main deck Roulette Barrel. It depends on the meta, obviously. Like, the more aggro stuff you expect, the better Roulette Barrel is in the main. But Roulette Barrel was originally in the main. People cut it. I still think you could main it. Like, we sided it in for the Chaos Return Mirror, and it was decent there, right? Like, obviously we, like, whiffed on Roulette Barrel a bunch of times, but eventually we did kill something and go +1. So, I think, like, Roulette Barrel is probably, like, the most underrated card in this deck that you can main deck. Now, does that mean you have to main deck it? No. But, like, it's a reasonable card. Like, just having... I mean, I hate to say it, but, like, just a light monster with 2,000 defense is already pretty decent. Realize there is a time in GOAT format where people played Skilled White Magician. And Roulette Barrel is definitely better than Skilled White Magician. We can all probably agree on that. I mean, I guess you could play Skilled White Magician in this deck, too, if you really wanted to. But I think Roulette Barrel is better than Skilled White Magician. Bazoo you can play. Like, what you can do is say, like, you want to cut this Ninja for a Tribe or something, and then it's like, oh, I have one less light monster, and now I've added a non-dark monster. The more non-light or dark monsters you have in the deck, the more incentive you have to play Bazoo. The problem with Bazoo in, like, this list is that, like, how do you argue that Bazoo is better than Chaos Sorcerer? Because that's what you're doing. Like, some people will cut one Chaos Sorcerer for a Bazoo, and, like, I think that can make sense depending on your builds. Like, what some people will do is they run, like, sort of like a warrior toolbox. They play, like, the Ninja, the Blade Knight. They, like, cut the Angels. Maybe play, like, a second Ninja or second Blade Knight. And then they add Exiled Force and a Rhoda. And then the idea is I'm going to Rhoda for Exiled Force. Use Exiled Force. And then if I have the Bazoo in my hand, I can use Bazoo to banish the Exiled and bring back the Exiled off of a return. And bringing an Exiled back off of a return is, like, a really good interaction, right? Like, that will win you games. I will be honest. That will win you games. But then it's like, okay, well, what are the odds? What are the odds that I'm going to have, like, the one Exiled and the one Bazoo and banish the Exiled and then, like, return it back? It'll happen sometimes, but, like, it doesn't happen enough to really move the needle much. But yeah, I mean, Bazoo, it's like, it is more likely that you'll be able to use its effect. Because you would see that there were some games, occasionally, where we had, like, two lights in our grave and no dark, or two darks in our grave and no light. And Bazoo is really good in those situations. Because if I've got whatever, like, there was a game where we had, like, two spies in our grave, no light. And there, it's like, you can summon Bazoo, banish your two spies, Bazoo goes up to 2,200, and then attack over your opponent's spy. Or attack over your opponent's Blade Knight, or something like that. And that is, like, a real thing that you can do. But, like, the thing where it... Obviously, like, from the way I've described it, it sounds like, oh, we should just all be playing Bazoo. But there are other situations where, like, Bazoo can be kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, say you're kind of having, like, a long, grindy game with Bazoo, and you use the effect, like, multiple times, and you just banish your whole grave. Like, yes, that makes return better, but it makes, like, a top-decked BLS worse, because you just won't have the light or dark for it. So, me personally, like, I think Chaos Sorcerer is, like, it's the higher ceiling card, and it's the card that's easier to play. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure out how to use Chaos Sorcerer, right? That's why people complain about it so much. Whereas Bazoo, it's like you kind of have to know what you're doing with it. Why not? What is Thunder Dragon going to do in this deck? Like, serious question. Like, you say, oh, it makes your return resolve better and it makes your turbo matchups better. I would disagree with both of those premises. I'd be like, how? I think it makes your turbo matchup worse. You're telling me that against a Chaos Turbo deck, you don't want Blade Knight, or you don't want Ninja Grandmaster, or you don't want Shining Angel to bait out Mind Control or attack into Dekochi and serve as tribute fodder for Zaborg? Like, are you just saying, like, you'd just rather have a sick... I mean, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, do you think Thunder Dragon is just, like, just a magic card that's just good in every deck? I mean, I know I'm sounding like kind of an asshole the way I'm, like, phrasing this, but these are serious questions. I'm not asking this, like, rhetorically. Like, what exactly is it that you think Thunder Dragon is doing? Like, oh, I can make sure the Thunder Dragon goes to the grave. You're gonna have stuff in the grave, right? Let's be realistic here, right? Like, how many games did we have where it was like, oh, we can't win because we don't have enough lights and darks in our grave? That never happened. So, Thunder Dragon is a solution in search of a problem. And it makes our opponent's dust shoots better. And it makes, like, Blade Knight worse if we continue playing it. I don't know. I mean, as far as who's better, if I had to guess who's better in the meta, Blade Knight or Grandmaster, I would say Blade Knight is probably better, but by a very tiny amount. But it depends. Like, Blade Knight is a very high variance card in this deck. Like, in Warriors, Blade Knight is just good all the time. This is not a deck where Blade Knight is good all the time. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't play it. Again, you go back to way, way earlier in the stream when I was talking about how, oh, just because a card isn't as good in your deck as it is in someone else's deck, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't play it. Obviously, Blade Knight is not as good in here as it is in, like, a Warrior deck, but it might still be good enough. Like, we did have a couple of games where, like, Blade Knight just being a 2,000 hitter mattered. Although, it's interesting because in the games we played today, Blade Knight didn't do a ton, and neither did Ninja. So it's like, you can make the argument, well, maybe we should just cut both. But then it's like, okay, cut both for what? If you just cut both, what light are you going to play instead? I mean, I think you could play something like Magician of Faith instead. Right? You could just cut these for 2 faiths. I don't think it's the worst idea ever. But by doing that, like, you make people's mind controls better against you. If you banish your opponent's faith and then banish your 2 faiths, it's like, yes, those faiths are technically fuel for return, but they don't really do anything for you in the banish pile. Whereas you would rather those faiths, like, actually go to your grave. So with Blade Knight and Ninja, it's like, maybe not amazing cards, but at least they go to the grave. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you on you agreeing with me on Angel. Like, if you cut the Angels, because people will play, like, the toolbox builds. Like, you'll have some people do this. You'll have some people go, like, okay, I'm going to play, like, 2 Blade Knights. I'm going to play, like, Ninja Grandmaster. And then I'm going to play, like, Reinforcement of the Army. You will have people do that. And that's fine. If you are, like, really just expecting, like, a meta of, like, all Chaos Turbo, just very standard decks where it's like, oh, they're all running Spies, they're all running Dekochis, I think you can make the argument that this is better. But then the problem is, if I cut these Angels, now I feel like I also have to cut the Zaborg. And then it's like, okay, well, what are we playing instead of Zaborg? Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but, like, cutting Sorks you can play Thunder Dragon, that's like, I don't know. I mean, I get that like you can do the whole thing where you go like, oh, Thunder Dragon, search 2 Thunder Dragons, pitch the other 2 Thunder Dragons, fail to find, and then just go Bazoo, banish 3 Thunder Dragons and return, which is, I don't know, 48 plus 25, 7,300 damage. But like, here's the thing: if you want to go that route, I think you should like make this deck totally different. Like there are sort of more like turbo builds of this deck where you're sort of more like all in on either return or dimension fusion, where they play like a lot of monsters and they play like Thunder Dragons and Magical Merchants. And then the idea is like, oh, I'm going to use Thunder Dragon and or Magical Merchant, put a bunch of stuff in my grave, banish it with like BLS, Bazoo, whatever, and then I'm going to like Dimension Fusion or return it back. Like you could play that deck too. But to me, that's what it sounds like you're trying to do. It sounds like you're really trying to say like, oh, we should play a similar deck, but really a deck with a very different game plan. Like this deck, it is basically, I mean, I know it's going to sound silly. This is a mid-range combo deck. This is a mid-range deck first and foremost that can combo kill you with return. Like most of the times with this deck, you are going to play a pretty fair game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? And then it's like in those game states that are very even, right? Like in a game state where it's like, oh, we both have like 5 cards and 4,000 life. In those game states, that's where you go, oh, well, I have return to just beat you now. Like now we don't get to play fair anymore. Now that I've kind of, dirtled around and done my 1-for-1 trades and sort of gotten to the mid game, I'm going to make sure that there won't be a late game because I'm just going to return and kill you. And it's very similar. Like the style of deck that's most similar to this one is this deck. Now, I know people say like, oh, this is like a totally different deck. But here we're kind of doing the same thing, just the implementation is different. Here we're still playing a very sort of like mid-rangey deck where we're using Spies for defense, we're using Blade Knights for offense, and we're mostly trying to play a fair game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But then sometimes we'll just be able to go, oh, boom, Stein out of nowhere, kill you. Right? It's the exact same, like it's the exact same strategy like at the macro level. It's just the implementation is different. Whereas like it sounds like what you want to do is take it more in the direction of combo. Which like, I don't know, maybe that works. I mean, I like combo decks as much as the next guy, right? Everyone knows that. But again, like this deck here and Chaos Return, what they are basically fair decks that have like an unfair plan B, right? It's, hey, I'm going to be a fair deck. I'm going to try to just like beat you down with like Blade Knights. And if I get the chance, boom, I'm going to return and kill you. Boom, I'm going to Stein and kill you in the case of the other deck. And I think this is like a very good strategy, by the way. Like me, I mean, it used to be different, but now it's like, I think that, yeah, like in GOAT format, you kind of need to have something unfair that you can do. But, yeah. Take it easy, guys.